Oh, are we live? Hello, hello, hello. I think we are live. Hello, hello. I think we are live. Let me just double check. Yeah, I want to go check on. If you are live, do drop a comment down below. I'm interested, obviously, to know if you are here. Obviously, and if you guys have got questions, do let me know down below. Honestly, I'm here to answer them. I pretty much go live every week, and I honestly answer the questions and talk about my business and what is going on. So I'll give you a couple of updates. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to literally type a message to StreamYard. Please, let's get that right. So we're getting there. So cool. So let's just see if we've got anything coming on. If anyone has joined us, so drop your questions below. Anything about Amazon arbitrage, let me know down below. Obviously, I'm really happy to answer them. So I kind of get a little bit of an update. What's been going on in my world? Well, we've been like testing out a new repricer in the USA. Also, we've launched a Seller Academy and the Fast Track FBA, which has been really good, actually, really good kind of feedback from that. Lots of people talking about how it's given them the framework to help them what they need to do going forward. Also, we've been holding the 4 weekly calls, so sourcing, admin, purchasing, and business mastery, which has been great as well. I'm really happy with that. And if you're interested, fasttrackfba.com/seller, you'll be able to jump over and see that, or you can go to the website and see it. We're closed at the moment. We will reopen, but we are closed at the moment. We're just going through the beta launch, which I'm really happy with. That was sold out. What else have we got? So obviously tried a new repricer in the USA. We paused STK, moved over to Go Aurora. Had some problems. Like I won't lie, you always get problems when you change repricer. I always expect that. That's a very normal one. But I think we went from like, let's call it $5,000 sales a week, a day. I think it was. Don't quote me. Maybe a day. Yeah, a day would do about 100,000 a month, down to like 300-400. And I think it was probably down to our rules. Our rules were quite low. That was a big problem that we had, and that caused an issue with us in regards to our repricer and what we had in regards to like selling on Amazon, and how she say the rules were just, we set the rules too high on Go Aurora and our rules are too low on Go STK, and as a result, when we switched over, we just, there are no sales happening. So I don't think it was Go Aurora, but I think there's a problem with it. The other problem we did find was that Go Aurora does report profits. It is an ROI based repricer. It does report profits based off what do you call it? Go Aurora does report profits based off what's actually happening in your business, but you can't see it individually. So it kind of accumulates, it calculates them, accumulates them all, but it doesn't give you the breakdown. So we kind of had to jump back to FTK to see what was actually happening, and then kind of do Go Aurora, which is a bit of a nightmare. And we're like kind of still figuring it out. So my team are kind of like left, right, and center. But I can give you more of an update on that. Guys, if you've got questions, drop them down below, or even if you're just here, just write, hi, Tom. Like, I'd like to see if you can see me, if it's working fine. If there's any questions you've got about your Amazon business, let me know down below. But obviously, I'll answer them. I do pop on for an hour every week, and I will answer them. So SDK, trialing that out. We moved over to Go Aurora in the US. I think we've moved back, don't quote me. What else have we done? So, and then obviously the Seller Academy, everything's set up there. That's going really well. So happy with that. We've got here Anthony. Hey Anthony, good to see you. Let me know if you've got any questions down below. Obviously, to support you guys. What else have we got going on within ourselves? So also we're making some Gaming Mama has come along. Hey Gaming Mama, hi, how are you? Let me know if you've got questions. Drop them down below. I am here to help. So we've got here one. Hello, sir. Any recommended tools to check sales other than parameters for Poland market? Oh my God, Poland market. That's an interesting one. I think the Poland market is like tiny, like really tiny. I didn't know the sales of it. Obviously, I knew it's quite a new one. Like I'd be very mindful. Like I think you're just gonna have to test by 1 and 2 or 3 of each, and then see how it goes. Like I would do that. Like the marketplace is so new that the sales data is so off that I just wouldn't know if it's correct or not, if that makes sense. So, and I don't even know if any of the tools like Jungle Scout, SAS, Rev Seller, or whatever, Buybot Pro, I don't know how accurate they're going to be. Like I would personally just be buying like 1, 2, and 3, or 3 of each, see how it goes, different sales rank, making a note and trying to learn it. Like Poland's going to be a very interesting marketplace. I really think that. Definitely, I think it'll make sales, but like it's still quite new, and I don't think the tools are going to fully support it yet. It's going to jump through Hassan. Hey, can we do online arbitrage in the UK? Like, is online arbitrage has potential nowadays? Yeah, definitely. Like, I know lots of people starting in the UK. Don't get me wrong. If I was going to start online arbitrage today, I'd probably do it in the US and start. But I don't like. I would definitely like. There's still opportunity to do it in the UK, like 100%. And that's something you can definitely do. And we're obviously still making sales. Right now with the UK cost of living crisis, there's big issues around. Obviously, the Prime Minister, whatever's going on there, I don't know. It's going to have an impact, but times are tougher than they have been in the past, and sales are slower than they have definitely been during COVID. But I do think if you're going to start in the UK, it's absolutely fine. I would not hesitate, but I think the US might be a better opportunity. But definitely the UK, you can definitely do it. Or if you're selling, fine, no problem. Generally, costs are a bit lower in the UK than they are in the US. That's one thing I'd say. And turnaround times are quicker in regards to stocks, just because the country's smaller, but obviously it is a smaller marketplace. Just be mindful of that. But I think it's third biggest. I think Germany's the second biggest. Don't quote me. Marketplace in Amazon. But yeah, you can definitely do it, and it still works. We do it. Let's go through Gaming Mama. How do we account for damaged inventory? Also, when Amazon changes its mind on certain listings and suppresses the listing required approval. So let's just kind of do account for damaged inventory. If your inventory is damaged, then obviously try and see if you can get it back from Amazon. It's quite unlikely, but do try. The other point is you can either resell it through like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, for example, or you just write it off, like as in like you make the value of that stock 0 and write it down. That's quite a common approach, you say. Then the other one, so that and unfortunately it's just called a cost of doing business. CODB, cost of doing business. Yeah, it's a pain. It does. Welcome to business. Unfortunately, you don't get money back on everything. And then the other one is also when Amazon changed their mind on certain listings and suppresses the listing requiring approval. So you're talking about two different things. If Amazon require approval, you do have to get ungated. Obviously, go to an ungating and do that. That's fine. Like a wholesaler, distributor, manufacturer, get the invoice ungate. But the other position is what else? So you get ungated. But the other point is that if it's suppressed, i.e., then that means that you need to, you can still sell when it's called suppressed, like suppressed buy box. Just generally, it will decrease in the number of sales you're getting. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but just track the number of sales. It might, if it is suppressed, you'll probably need to drop your price, and then obviously Amazon will then show the buy box. The one thing which I will say is if you look at Amazon's own internal repricer, there's an option on there which says reprice my products versus competitor or off Amazon competitors. So let's say, for example, right now you're selling on Amazon USA and you're wanting to reprice your products versus all the competitors in Amazon, and you're using your repricing, the product in Amazon, all the competitors in Amazon. Well, Amazon's actually also checking the prices of Walmart. Now, if Walmart's cheaper than you, it might suppress that buy box until Walmart's price goes back up again. So just be mindful of that. When they're suppressing listings, it might not be anything to do with Amazon itself. It might be off Amazon, i.e. Walmart, where you're buying from. Certainly something to consider about. Let's kind of jump through. Gaming Mama, let me know if that answers your question down below. Bruv Travel. What sales per month do you look for on SaaS to buy? It's up to you. So I think generally speaking, I'd probably look between minimum of 5 and 10 sales per month for the listing. It depends what you're doing. If you're a new seller, I really would recommend having you can go lower than that. You can get 1 to 3, for example. Just read the keeper chart. That's fine. But if you are a bigger seller, you're probably going to look for more sales volume. That's the point. Now, the question which I kind of answered, the question you're asking is what do you look for in SaaS? Well, I was obviously for me, I look for at least 5, if not 10. But generally speaking, I'm also going to look at the competition. If the competition of they're on the buy box, they've got a lot of stock and probably a lot of reviews, then I might be considering that in my calculations as well. We do share the buy box, that's part of our repricing strategy, and I think I need to consider that in my sales calculations. So if it's a listing whereby it's selling 10 per month and there's 3 other sellers, they're all quite big sellers with lots of stock, I probably might avoid it because I know they're going to be quite competitive, and I might make 2 or 3 sales months. It's not worth my time. But if it's selling 10 per month a listing and there's no other big competitors on there, then I might be cool, I'm really happy that I can get involved. So I hope that answers your question. Bruv Travel, let me know down below. Gaming Mama, also, do you have any advice on scaling or advice on scaling? Advice, I'm guessing. I have been doing a mixture of retail and online, however, now struggling with retail and finding time. Yeah, it's a really common question. Like I talk about this quite in depth within the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy. Like, and I have whole videos about like mindset around it and what you need to do. And also we have like the quarter dashboards and the tracking that we use. And it's really my framework, which allows you to see this in numbers. And you can literally just look at numbers and be like, okay, now I need to like get a VA, now I need to change my strategy, now I need to look at this. Like just by looking at those numbers are really good. And that framework within the Seller Academy really helps out. So you can see that on fasttrackfba.com within the Seller Academy. Now, in the mixture for you, the long story short, if you kind of think about it this way, it's like, if you're really looking at like what's making me the most money. Now, if retail arbitrage is making the most money, fantastic, keep doing that. Now, if you have more money than time, then you just want to start thinking about, okay, maybe I want to decrease my retail arbitrage a bit, not much, and then I want to spend some money on online arbitrage. That's it. Like, and the way to think about it is like, if you want to make the most amount of return on your money. So like if I give you a really good analogy, let's say for example right now I'm making 100% ROI because I'm doing retail arbitrage. Wow, Tom, that's great. Well, if I'm making 100% ROI on £1,000 in a month, that's £1,000 profit. Well, hey, but what if I'm making, I don't know, let's call it 30% ROI, not as great, but I'm doing it on £10,000 a month through retail arbitrage. Well, 30% of £10,000 is what, £3,000. Well, you know what, my ROI on my retail arbitrage is much higher than my ROI on online arbitrage. And you know what, everyone's going to be like, go for the ROI. But I don't really care about that. I care about physical, cold, hard cash in the bank. Retail arbitrage, £1,000 spend, 100% ROI, that's £1,000 profit. So I only get I get £1,000 cash in the bank. Online arbitrage, £10,000 spend, 30% ROI, 3,000 cash in the bank. That's more than the 1,000 cash in the bank. I'm going to do that. So what I would look at is I'd still keep trying to maximize the highest ROI, but I would look at it in regards to making sure that I can spend all the money. So if I had £1,000, I'd just keep doing on retail arbitrage. But if I had £10,000, I'd probably want to be making sure I'm spending that the most. Now I hope that kind of makes sense. And that's the reason why you find a lot of people start retail arbitrage and transition to OA and then probably into wholesale. Why? Because they have more money than they have time. If you have time, you can go do retail arbitrage. But your physical amount of cash you can generate in the bank is a lot lower. But online arbitrage, you can spend more money, probably make more cash in the bank, great. But there is a limit. You know, we're doing like 3.5 million in the UK. It's challenging, I won't lie. But then when you move over to wholesale to spend 3.5 million, it's quite easy. You know, you can do that. You can spend 50 million. You know, Amazon Lit, for example, their ROI will probably be lower than what mine is, and I don't know it for a fact. I'm only guessing, but their physical cash in the bank will probably be a lot more than mine. Why? Because they're doing a lot more volume. So I hope that makes sense. And you're kind of transitioning through it, and your general metric of when should I transition is how much money do I have left in the bank. I hope that makes sense. Just kind of waffling on. It's going to go through Facebook user. Hey, Facebook user. Let's kind of jump through. Hey, Thomas, quick question, please. Other than Capital on Tap and Amex, what credit cards would you recommend? I can only recommend those two. Don't get me wrong, we've got a Santander business credit card. It's a 1% cashback, but I really don't like them. They only give me a £7,700 limit. And then like for me to improve, I have to write a business plan and everything else. Whereas I can just call Capital on Tap and be like, hey, can I have 100 grand? I'm like, yeah, fine, no problem. So I really like, there are other ones, but I don't like them. If you're going to use, I don't know if Chase does a UK one. I think they're only debit, if that makes sense. If I was in the UK, I'd look at Money Saving Expert, right? Best business credit cards. You really want the cashback rewards. That's what we're looking at. That's how we work. That's the benefit we get. USA Chase definitely would be the other one. I think there's like Spark. It does a 2% cashback, which is really good. PayPal might also do a 1% cashback. In the US, I know that, and they might do it in the UK as well. Check. Have a look. But I can't really recommend them. They're just ones I heard of. I hope that makes sense. Sorry if it's not particularly useful, but I can only really talk about my experience. Nick Davidson, hi, Fast Track FBA. Hey, how do you go about gaining the buy box share? Long story short, do FBA, fine, and then drop your price. That's it. Like, just keep manually dropping your price, and eventually you'll win it. I promise you that. That's the 9 times out of 10. Like, you know, all the other stuff people talk about, it does have an impact, but you can't really control for it. Like your number of views, you know, account health, Like, you could probably have okay reviews in account health, drop your price and win the buy box. But if your buy box is matching, you're still not winning, you're really good account health and reviews, probably not going to help. It's price. Like, I hate to say it, just price. Change your price, drop it down. That's it. I know you don't like that answer, but that is the answer. Amazon's a competition, it's a marketplace. Cheapest price wins the same product. Ali, can you recommend the best 3PL service or online arbitrage? Ali, you can just Google them. There's loads of them. Like Kev Blackburn. He is called. Oh my God, I can't remember the name of it. Kev Blackburn up in. I should figure it out. I don't know. Fast Pack FBA, We Prep FBA. Type in Kev Blackburn Prep Center. He's good as well. They filled the cameras. They're pretty good. I'm aware in the US. We used them before. It's fine. We're testing lots of different prep centers. I won't lie. You got to keep trying them. Like, keep trying them. Sometimes they go well, sometimes they don't. That's the thing I suggest. Rowan, hello. How many products you sell and categories you recommend? Products we sell. I don't know how many products we sell. I know range of SKUs. The UK is about, I think, 900, 1,000. US is about 300. Don't quote me. I guess. I could look at the stats. I don't have it. I don't have them right hand. I'd have to load them up. The other one, what categories do you recommend? Look at Fast Track FBA YouTube channel, like top categories for beginners, top categories for Q4. We do loads of videos about this. They do change. The usual ones like health, beauty, toys and games, etc. Again, it depends on who you are and what thing you do. Look, and let me just be crystal clear. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story. The story is that about a year or 2 years ago, everyone was talking about selling advent calendars for Q4. Like, everyone's like, man, like, by the way, 3 years ago, everyone was selling advent calendars, making a killing. 2 years ago, everyone was talking about it. 1 year ago, everyone started selling advent calendars. What happened? No one made any money because everyone was doing it. And what's the moral of the story? If everyone's saying to do it, you probably might want to just be quite cautious. So like 50% in that, 50% in something else. Why? Because if everyone's talking about it, there's more competition, less profit. Be mindful of that. Don't just do what everyone recommends. Find your own niche. Sam Green, was looking to get my first VA. I'm thinking about sharing one with a friend for costs. Wasn't sure if it's best to get your own or share. I heard someone like wanting to share it across marketplaces. I wouldn't ever do that. I think that's a nightmare. Number two is you can share it with a friend if you're on like the same marketplace. Personally, I think if you're going to do that, just go get a lead service. It'll be cheaper. Why? And then kind of get yourself up to the point whereby you're ready for a VA. You can look down a VA, fasttrackfa.com/VA down here. Like, you can do it. The reason is I just think like you really want a VA to help you. Why? Because you want to give that VA all your old deals and say, go find these deals. Like, that's what you're effectively doing with your friend. Like, you're basically, let's talk about 3 top ways to really utilize a VA. Like, yes, you can definitely go sell them to go sell, but what should you do with a VA? Number one, they should be going back to all your old deals looking for replenishable items. Are they available again? Number two, they should be going back to the stores that you find lots of your deals on, finding deals from the same stores. Number three, they should be looking at the same categories and sourcing methods that always work for you, doing what you've always done to find more of that. What we don't do is, like, if you think about it, like any big company finds a way of making money. And then what do? They then hire people to copy that way of making money to allow them to grow. Like, most of the time, they're not going to hire someone to find something new out. They do, but the majority of the time it will be, hi, you've got a job. This is what you want to do. Pick up the phone, call someone, cold calls. You need to make 100 calls a day and do this. That's what you're going to do with your VA. Hi, I want you to go onto these stores and I want you to look at these products and find the same products in Amazon. Do that 100 times a day, and that's how we make money. And this is the result we're looking for. And it's action based. That's what we're looking at. So when you get your first VA, you're going to get them to copy what you're doing. And if you share that with someone else, you're just basically you're sharing with someone else what you do, which you can do, but I just don't recommend it. So I think generally do it on your own. Hope that makes sense. Guys, drop your questions down below if you've got them. I will answer them. I have a good habit of answering all the questions. Umas, hi, I've just been asked for a HACCP certificate or a GSI certificate with an ASIN. Where can they get that? They are for food. I think you need to get back to the manufacturer. If they want a certificate, like, I know, like, I'm not hot on this, but I know obviously you've been having to add it to the products themselves. But if you're going to get the certificate, like, and I think I know this from our own internal things, you have to go back to the manufacturer, or you can pay for it yourself. But it does cost about $3,000, and it takes about 3 months. So Like, it's not something you want to do. Long story short, sell, clear the product down, do whatever you need to do, but don't sell it. That's all I'd say. Thanks. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Should we add 3PL charge or calculating Amazon revenue calculator? Yeah, definitely. It's part of called a cost. It's a cost of shipping the product, cost of doing it. Definitely add it into your calculations. Last thing you want to do is make a profit and then lose all that profit because you're 3PL. It wasn't a profitable product to start with. Game of Mama. I've been winging it without BuyBot Pro for a while, and so lots of listings that Amazon have jumped on. It was too saturated. Join SaaS now. It's already avoiding so many issues. Cool, glad. SaaS is great. I really like it. And why did you talk about BuyBot Pro, like without BuyBot Pro? No, why SaaS? I don't know. How long do you keep inventory in Amazon warehouse before you break even sell out? I think we do about 90 days. That's about quite common for us. 90 days. We do have different strategies. I won't lie. We do different strategies, but generally 90 days is the kind of easy metric to consider. Gaming Mama, thanks Tom. Your answers are in-depth and easy to understand. I keep learning so much from you. Cool. Honestly, really glad I can help you out, and thank you so much. Right, let's go through to the next question. What is the next question we've got here? 2 seconds. Right, Amazon, how's your Q4 going so far? I feel that things have not picked up. Oh my God, I can tell you something else. My Q4 has been a complete disaster. Let's put it that way. But by the way, I wasn't expecting them. So number one, USA, we changed over to a new repricer. Didn't get the rules right. Sales dropped from about 3,000 a day down to 300 a day for a couple of days. That's called a disaster. Number two, we have had a couple of weeks whereby in the past, whereby we've really struggled to do purchasing in the UK. It's changed now. The purchasing's a lot better, but I'm not going to lie. Like, look, this is our UK right now, 160,000 in sales. And you can see we're like 40% down on last year and 17% down. Why? We haven't been shipping enough stock in. That's it. If you don't buy enough, you're not selling it. Do I think we're still going to have a good Q4? Yes, I really do. Do I think the beginning of Q4 is going to be a problem? Yeah, like we just haven't been getting enough stock, and my team have really been struggling. Not just struggling with sourcing, lots of other little things as well. We've had a lot of organizational change, which had an impact, and structural changes, so that's had an impact on us. But will we turn it around? Yeah, 100%. Like this time last year, we're down 40%. That's absolutely huge. You know, we're probably doing 300 this time last year. Now we're doing 160. It's a big difference. Will we bring it back? 100%. Yeah, 100%. I don't doubt that. But it will just take a bit of time. So fingers crossed, we'll get there. But, you know, I think definitely it hasn't been as busy, but then the whole UK cost of living crisis has been a problem. And I think the US is fine, but we just had repricing problems. Systemized fulfillment. Thank you so much. If anyone's looking for a prep center, systemized fulfillment, Kev Blackburn, really, really good. I do like them. They literally record your boxes being packed. So when Amazon says, sorry, you didn't ship that, you can just send them the video and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you did ship it, we'll give you the money. I really like that. I think it's an amazing system they have. I've actually been to his warehouse twice. Gaming Mama, how does Amazon expect you to match their fulfillment by merchant price when their price is like £3 plus postage? Amazon won't let you lift for $5.49. You're right. You are right. Find another product. That's all I can say. Move on. You know, welcome to the game. Unfortunately, some people do. They have funny ways of doing it, and also, like some people buy the product cheaper than you can get it. That's it. Like, you know, sometimes you can't win. Don't expect to win all the time. So that's it. And sometimes the postage and everything else, like, it's a nightmare. Just be mindful of that. Also, just be mindful that sometimes, and I've done this many times. I'm an Amazon shopper. I will come in shopping and I will type in whatever I'm searching for, and then I'll click the Prime only button. So I'll automatically remove all the FBM people. So it will only show me the Prime results. So if you're £6, fine, that works. So you can list, but it might just be that you're not showing so easily on the buy box straight away. Let's kind of jump through. Martin, if I move into a warehouse, what sort of net profit after tax should I be aiming for? Oh my God, it's up to you. It depends on revenue. Like I think I can't really talk about warehouse. I don't do warehouses, but if I kind of talk about us and where we're at, like, you know, we're doing 3.5 million a year. We operate probably a 5% net profit, net. And generally you don't do it after tax, that's before tax, because it's called EBITDA. So earnings before tax, interest, appreciation, and amortization. I think that's it. So generally, obviously, you have taxation after that. Now, why? Because you can play with your tax. You can like offset tax. You can do other things with it. But really, you're looking at what's known as EBITDA. So you don't do it after tax. Obviously, if you paid all the money out as a payroll to me, then there would be no profits left. But if I decided to do the tax and then pay it as a net dividend, then there would be tax on it. So again, hence why you don't do it net tax or after tax. So you can play with it, but really, like that 5%. I think if you're going to do like anything up to 1 million, you could probably get 10% out of it. And if you, and again, it's how efficient your warehouse operations. And again, your model, like if you're doing high value items, like a friend of mine, I don't know his net profit margins, but he has a warehouse and he does high value items. I'd probably be quite happy to say that he probably does more than 10% over 1 million, like 1.5 million a year. So yeah, but also some people might do very high volume, low value, and then their net margins or net margin, or should I say net margins, might be like 5 to 7%. So again, I think if you're hitting 10%, you should be happy. 5 and 10%, you should be happy. And again, like your warehouse, if you hit above that, fantastic. So I hope that makes sense. Let's kind of jump through. Can getting lead service get me around 150K a year? Well, I think the good way to put it is we do 3.5 million a year, and all our leads are available on Fast Track FBA lead service. So if you want access to all our deals, we do way more than that figure, and every single deal that we buy is on that lead service. It's up to you what you do. So can you get 150? Let me put it this way. Let me be really simple. Can you buy a lead service, anyone's, and then go and buy all the products and sell them for break even and make 150K a year? Yeah, fantastic. You know, in sales, I'm not saying profit, but sales, yeah, 100%. Break even, of course. If you're looking to make 150K a year profit, yeah, we do that, and we're operating at a 5% margin. So yeah, fine. So just be mindful, like you can do it. But would you probably want to do it on a lead service to a 150K net profit? No, I wouldn't. I'd hire a team, much better. It's going to jump through. Yeah, you done that one, Rowan. Thank you, Rowan. Great. Has the old workflow in FE ended? I don't know personally. I don't do it. My admin team do it, but I have heard on the grapevine, i.e., through the Facebook groups, that it has. Don't quote me. See how it goes. But I know Amazon are always making changes, so yeah, I think it probably has. If you're a USS user, Ultimate Sourcing Sheet, do speak to Patrick and Kim. Obviously, just post it in the group and they'll support you as well. So I think it has ended. Let's go through. Oh my god. I haven't sourced through every year, at least a year. Build a team, mate. I know you're doing wholesale. I wouldn't personally. I wouldn't use a lead service to build a sustainable business. I'd build a team. Like that's like you can use lead services to supplement, but I'd probably say build a team. That'd be my advice. Yeah. But also, if you're doing wholesale, keep doing wholesale. Definitely. Don't know why you change. Rowan, what's your experience in global selling? I'm about to get it and just want to get your thoughts. It's okay. It doesn't really do particularly brilliant. We kind of make like, I don't know, 50 to 100 sales a month, and on what, like 10,000 sales is like not much. Like you don't get a choice. You just turn it on, and then Amazon chooses which products to list and buy globally. That's it. So I wouldn't like. It's going to be helpful, but you have no control over it. That's it. So you just kind of get like, oh, I made a sale. Cool. That's it. I don't think it's amazing. Turn it on, fine. Nick Davison, what are size and weight limitations for the small and light, and how much discount fees do small and light items get? I don't know the answer. I would actually look at Amazon because they can do it, and they do change them, they tweak them. The one thing you want to think about is the big one is that beauty and I think it's health and personal care get what's known as an FBA referral fee discount if it's sub £10. So to give you an idea, if you sell a product for £10.01, I think it's $10.01 in the US as well, $10.01, your referral fee is 15%. If you sell it for $9.99, it's 8% referral fee. So you can see just by changing the price by 2 cents, you can save 8% on the actual costs, which is incredible. So small and light is great, and I'm not very hot on it. We don't do much on it. The reason why we don't do much is because it's really suited for doing wholesale. Small and light on OA, unless you're getting a lot of replenishables, isn't really the area that we look at. But I do think that, and also, small and light is quite low value items, and we're not really interested in low value items. But I would definitely look at that kind of like 8, or should we say sub £10 in health and personal care and beauty, and over £10. That's something that I'd really be looking at. Nick, sorry, that's not particularly helpful. I hope that makes sense. But I'm not hot on small and light. We don't really do it. And the reason why we don't do it is because if you're going to get into it, you really want to be like understanding it, getting it really good, and then being able to run a lot of volume through it. Think about wholesale. Now, our problem comes is we don't really do wholesale. We do arbitrage. So the net result is that we don't really get into it. We don't learn the ins and outs because it's not really something we do in arbitrage. So I hope that makes sense. Let's jump over to here. Phil O. Hey, Phil. Hi, Tom. What should I... One second. I'm just going to drink my water. Phil O. Guys, if you've got questions, drop them down below. I will help you out. So, hi, Tom's. what should I focus on before hiring a sourcing VA? Are there any processes which I need to be in place beforehand, or anything else I do in preparation and hit the ground running? If you're going to ask me, hire it through us, fasttrackfba.com, and we explain everything. And then you get weekly calls and you can ask lots of questions, and we set you up. Long story short, if the only thing which I'd only say to everyone is number one is you need 1 hour a day to spend with your VA to support them. We have whole kind of like SOPs about how to support your VA. What does that 1 hour call look like? What should you be doing on that 1 hour call? That's all within the Fast Track VA Academy. And I will say this, if you are thinking about hiring a VA, you should, like, even if you're like, I want to do it my own, like, just hire your first one through us. Why? Because you can literally get all my SOPs, everything, get access to the support. And then that way, if you want to hire again afterwards, is like you can do it yourself. But I really don't reckon you should. It's just a no-brainer doing it through us because we just do this all the time. And we have all the processes. You know, we have 330 clients and 550 VAs hired. There's a reason why, so that we know what we're doing, and it works. It really works. Hence why you can see why most people have hired 1 or 2 VAs from us. But long story short, 1 hour a day you should have with your VA. I would literally time block that in my calendar. Number 2, I would make sure you have the tracking and reporting in place. We've just introduced that all within our Fast Track FBA VA Academy. So the expectation settings for tracking and reporting. What else is? I think that's it. And then the other one is you're going to get 1,000 questions, which I could be here forever talking about. But we have a weekly support call which you can jump in on with my HR manager. She'll help you, like, she'll talk through it all, help explain what they mean. That's going to be really, really helpful for you. So yeah, I think that's the big point that I really recommend looking at. Let's kind of jump through. Phil, if there's anything maybe specifically you're asking, let me know down below. I hope that makes sense. Hey, hi Tom. You told him on your videos out of stock listing influences IPI score. Shall we delete this listing or close that product listing? Long story short, I think it still does. Don't quote me. My team deal with it. But regardless of that fact, you should always delete any listings once you've sold it. Like, not just close it, but delete them. Why? We've seen it time and time again. When a brand wants to make IP alerts or IP complaints, Amazon will go through and look at anyone with that listing who's currently in their seller central inventory. If you've deleted it, you'll be fine. Even if it's closed, Amazon will still issue an IP complaint for it. And the only way you can get rid of it is by saying, I've never sold the item, which is probably not true. But if you deleted the listing, you won't get hit by the IP complaint. So we like make a habit of every single, like, and by the way, if you accidentally delete a listing where it's got stock, it just goes into stranded inventory and you can add it back in again. It's absolutely fine. So long story short is, what do? We just go through and delete all the listings very aggressively, very regularly. You know, if it's over like 4 weeks old and we've got no stock, we'll probably delete it out. That's it. Why? IP complaints will also manage inventory so much easier, makes it so much nicer. Don't worry, like, you don't really do too much harm if you do it. You go a bit too aggressive, but if you're leaving so many there, number one, affects IPI. Number 2, you can get IP complaints for it, which we've seen time and time again. So don't do it. Let's kind of jump through. Jesse, hey Jesse. Hi Tom, do you also do eBay or just entirely Amazon? Only Amazon. And the reason behind it is I don't even do EFN. You know, we do 3.5 million. We don't even do EFN. We just do UK. And the reason is what I kind of noticed, and this is back in the EFN days before EFN shut down, and now we're on the EFN version 2, was that it just created complexity. I.e., like, instead of repricing one marketplace, I've now got to reprice 5. And I was like, I just wasn't really like making much money from it. And I was like, man, like, this is too much work. So I was like, why don't we just cut it down, make it simple, 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 simple. So, and by the way, we were selling on eBay. We were doing like the kind of like Joey Lister, for example. And once you start taking into account how much money you were making and the hassle of doing it, dealing with customer questions and, you know, things like, and then also the admin on top of it, I was like, I'm not really making any money from it. Like, I was probably losing money in payroll costs and everything. So when it's just not even really worth it. So we just didn't do it. Like, we literally just said, stop it all, stop eBay, stop EFN, and we just focused purely on the UK, doing purely online arbitrage, and, you know, now over 3 million a year. So in the last 12 months. So that's why, right? We don't do it. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do eBay. I think there's definitely a good opportunity there, but you either do it all or you don't bother at all. Like, you like properly do eBay and Amazon, or you, like, if eBay is a side hustle, don't bother. Like, and people say, oh, you should do it because what if Amazon shuts your account down? Well, look, at the end of the day, if Amazon shuts your account down, you're probably going to open up an eBay store and shift all the stock into eBay. Fine. But if you're kind of doing it as like a mini side hustle in case Amazon shuts you again, like you're just wasting your time. You might as well just grow Amazon. And you know what? For $100 a month, you can get a guy called Jeff, fasttrackfba.com/Jeff. It's not Jeff Bezos, there's another guy we use who helps us with all our IP complaints. And you know, from 3 million sales, we have like 3 IP complaints. He'll help tackle them all. So like we're not worried. And in the US, we got 0 IP complaints. We've got an account rating of, we're in green, 312 out of 1,000, which is really good, by the way. So like, I have no worries. Like Amazon's a lot safer now than it used to be. So I don't think you need that kind of backup eBay plan. It's just wasting your time. Hope that makes sense. Let me know down below, Jesse, if that makes sense. Nick, that makes sense. Cool, Nick. Honestly, glad to help you. Adam says copy and paste into browser. I'm sure someone said asked the question, but yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Adam, and thank you for all the messages on the YouTube videos. I do see them, so thank you so much. Rowan, thank you. Shorty carb. Kopkum if anyone's Thai. Rowan, what do you recommend for expanding the FBA? I'm not really sure what you mean by the FBA. Can you let me know? Oh, here we go. I have over 20 P&L products and my growth is not rapidly. What do you recommend expanding? I'm not a P&L guy. I'm really not. You know, just top of my head, maybe like focus on a couple of products, maybe do off Amazon promotion, influencers, paper, you know, influence I think is the best one. You know, it might be like influencers landing pages to Amazon. That's fine. Yeah, like, you know, you could do PPC, fine. Drop price, lightning deals, coupon codes. I'm not 100%. I'm not hot on P&L. I can only suggest. Sorry, Rowan. I'm not. I'm an arbitrage seller, not a P&L. Let's go and jump through it. Where can I get some reliable VAs, a team member that can be trusted to do the job and get me profit? Currently, I'm getting around 14-16% margin according to Sellerboard. Cool. I don't really know about margin. Like, that's up to you and what your deal criteria and how you do it. We provide VAs, so fasttrackfba.com/VA. And I like to think all our VAs are reliable and they do a good job. You know, again, 550 VAs we've hired over 2 years for our clients makes a really, really big difference. So have a look at us, fasttrackfba.com/VA. And then margins, obviously about you running your business. So I'll let you focus on that. Rowan, coming back to 20 P&L, fantastic. Guys, if you've got questions, drop them down below. I will answer them. I've got till the end of the hour, or I'll drop off until you finish answering questions. Adam, I'm also starting to think that stick to Amazon FBA as merchant fulfilled network, and eBay does add extra complexity and hassle for the time and effort and customer inquiries. Now on top of this, probably not worth it. Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't think you should be doing eBay unless you're doing like at least over 10,000 a month on it. Like, which is probably quite a lot. Like, if you're doing less than 10,000 a month on Amazon, my God, you should not be doing, like, even Amazon one marketplace, you should not be focusing on another marketplace. You should, like, I wouldn't, like, I know everyone's like, oh, you should turn on the EFN just to make some extra money. Like, I'll say it now, don't do it. Like, I get the idea and I understand why, but I think you should really drill down, focus on your marketplace, get that right, buy, sell. Why? Because if you turn on EFN, you're probably going to be looking for a product for the UK marketplace. And when it's like, oh, it's okay, you might then start looking at Amazon, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain and start going, oh, well, they sell well there, I'll buy it for that. No, it's called a bad buy. Like, you buy it for the UK marketplace, you sell it in the UK marketplace. If you make some extra sales in the other marketplace, fine. What you don't do is you don't ever source, consider it for that marketplace. That's kind of like cashback. You might make a sale, you might make some cash back on it, but you never guarantee it. And you don't even think about it. It's kind of like a Brucey bonus if you get it. So I think for me, and the way we've done it, and we've grown our businesses, no EFN, no eBay, purely Amazon UK. That is it. You know, if you're doing less than 10,000, I'll say it now, just don't even bother all the other ones. You're wasting your time. I'd probably say like maybe EFN if you're doing it over 10,000, but again, just turn it on, see what happens. But again, you want to be getting yourself to like 20,000, hiring a VA, and again, still focusing on Amazon. And I'll probably say it now, like until you're doing about 50,000, I wouldn't even consider eBay. But even when you're doing 50,000, I still wouldn't even consider eBay, because then I'd still think that, right, I'm doing 50,000, cool. Why don't we push it up to 100,000 in Amazon? Like, the amount of effort and time. The question you've got to ask yourself, let me ask you this question. Let's say, for example, you're doing 40, let's assume the net profit margins are exactly the same, you know, per revenue. Let's say, for example, you're doing 10,000 in Amazon, let's call it 10,000 a month, or 10,000, 10,000 a month. So there's what, 160 hours in a month, isn't there? So 10,000 divided by 160 means you're going to be making about, ironically, £62.50 in sales per hour worked. Now, I don't think for every hour you spend on eBay, you're going to be making the same amount of sales. You're probably going to spend 3 or 4 or 5 hours on eBay. Let's say, for example, you might spend like 3 hours a week. So let's do that times by 3 hours a week times by 4 weeks, 12. So I'm going to just do it now. Multiply by, so 62.5 multiplied by 12. So you're basically saying you could make an extra, for the time you're selling on eBay, you could make an extra 1,000 on Amazon. Like, I just don't think it's going to work. I really don't think. It's kind of like, stop being a jack of all trades, start being a master of one. And like, honestly, I will say this to you now, the reason why Amazon business grew so fast, we stopped doing eBay, we stopped doing EFN. I really believe that. We just focus, double down. I believe that. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Adam mentioned it down here. I did merchant fulfillment. I agree. I do understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, such as stick to Amazon FBA. Yeah, agree. My God, like, you going to the post office to do merchant fulfilled network is not adding value. Like, just there's different forms of leverage: people's time, people's money, people's again, operations, FBA, for example. You want to be using these to your advantage. My God, FBA is one of the most amazing things in the world. You don't have to buy any pack. You don't have to invest any money in boxes, cardboard, shipping labels, all these other stuff, and you only pay for what you use. Like, that's incredible. Like, literally, like, if you use it, you pay for it. If you don't use it, you don't pay for it. I've met people who bought warehouses, storage centers to do fulfillment by merchant and merchant fulfilled network, and they were spending more money on just the rent per, when you divided the number of units per month, the rent divided by the number of units shipped per month from their own warehouse, by the way. They weren't using a prep center. They wanted to ship it to their warehouse and then out to Amazon. When you did the calculation, they're actually spending more per unit, not including labor costs, just for the warehouse cost, than they would have done on a prep center, which would have included the labor, which is absolutely incredible. So I really think, just like focus, double down. Sourcing's where you add value. Do that. Right, AA, I have a blocked listing pet food by Amazon, not much dollar, luckily, but it says you're not allowed to sell this item and applications are not accepted by Amazon. Yeah, it does happen. Just got to move on, sell the product, move on. That's it. Or should say, return the product. Amazon, Facebook, eBay, shift it. That's the only reason why I might suggest eBay to clear stock you can't sell on Amazon. That's it. Agree, Thomas, agree. Cool, fantastic, Adam. Sorry to rant. Sonia, Sophia, can you get ungated by buying products with your Amazon business account? I've heard you can. I'm not going to say you can, but I've heard it through the grapevine. Also, if you do this, do not use your Prime account. It's against Amazon terms of service to buy products through Prime, a Prime account for the purposes of resale. It's illegal. Do not do it. That can shut down your business account and shut down your selling account. Be careful. But I've heard you can. I don't know if you can. I've not tried it. Let's go through. Merchant fulfilled network. Merchant fulfilled did not mean EFN. Agreed, but I'm just talking about EFN as well, like eBay, for example. Okay, thank you. I'm hitting 50K sales a month. Wow, honestly, top work. Really well done. Like, that's amazing. Just come join the Seller Academy. Honestly, I can take that to 100K. I promise you. Amazon and eBay 2K says it's all for the effort and linking to 3PL, just not worth it. Yeah, man, like, you're doing 2K on eBay. Like, and let me do it. I'll tell you a top tip for you. Calculate how many hours a week you spend on or month on Amazon, work out revenue per hour worked, and then do the same thing for eBay. I promise you, it's just going to be like, and by the way, our job is to do activities which increase our revenue. So if you're doing, like, let's call Amazon, you're doing £1,000 per hour worked, and eBay, you're doing £500 per hour worked. But if you cut the eBay £500 and spend that same hour on Amazon, you'll probably get another £1,000 of revenue. That'll probably work out better for you. Just something to think about. I've done it in my business. It's so powerful. Cut out the low performing activities. Thanks, Thomas. You have reinforced what I was really thinking. Get rid of 3PL hassles and focus on the business, not in it. Yeah, agreed. Again, Seller Academy, mate. Adam, come join us. Honestly, we will reopen. When we do, just let us. You'll see it. We'll promote it. But the idea is that we're working with a lot of sellers who are doing. Some of them just starting, some of them 7 figures already. I give them the same frameworks that I use, and literally it helps you kind of understand like where you should. But let me put it this way. The biggest thing that we've identified within both our businesses and allowed us to grow is the fact that your time is very precious. If you focus your time in the right areas, on the right metrics, and grow them, you can become very focused and very powerful. But what we can do, and we know this time and time again, is if we focus on the wrong things, EFN, for example, eBay, what we do is we just start spreading our time, and we kind of don't see the results, and our business doesn't grow quick enough. So what did we do? We basically understood what the key drivers are within our business, and we put it into a framework whereby we focus each member of our team, sources, admin, purchasing, business overall, into a certain key number of metrics. And those metrics are all fully documented within the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy. And this is what we have used. It's that exact framework with those exact metrics, which have allowed us to focus on what really matters and to just stop looking at everything. Literally, I have a conversation with my team members. I'm like, if you talk about anything else, I'm going to shout and scream at you. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, because I don't care. If you focus on these metrics, these things, this is what will grow your business. And it reports it every single week, every single week we see it, and we can perform it up to a quarter, up to a year, and it really allows us to achieve the goals. And this is one of the driving factors behind the fact that I can build 2 7-figure businesses. And we're doing it right now with all our sellers in the Seller Academy, new beginners and 7-figure sellers, and it's really, really useful. Like it's just eye-opening, and they're looking at it going, wow, like I didn't realize that number was so bad. I'm now going to focus on that number this week, and they're bringing it down. And what is it? It's because your business is a machine. It operates. There's no one individual metric you should focus on. It's a collection of metrics. Like when you drive your car, you don't just look at the speedo. You look at the fuel gauge. You look at the revometer. You might look at like your lights. We have a dashboard, and we have to balance all those dials to allow our car to get where we need to do. If we look at solely the speedo, never look at the fuel gauge, we're going to run into problems. So our most important point is the fact that we should be looking at all the the measures, the important metrics, by the way, in balance. And that's what we do within our framework within the Seller Academy. Trust me, it's really helping people out. Right now it is closed. I won't lie about that, it is closed. I'll drop it down here if anyone's interested. I'll put it in the comments. fasttrackfba.com/seller. I'll just drop it down here. If you want to have a quick look, and obviously when we reopen, you'll kind of know more, but you can see Fast Track Seller. You can see it all. That is in the Seller Academy, and we will reopen, but we're just going through the finalizing it now with a couple of, we've got about 20 odd people in the group, the first lot, and then also we'll reopen later on, probably looking around November time, so keep an eye out. But honestly, Adam, I think for you, it'd be really helpful. And we can really grow that and just build real nice structure and keep focused. And you get 4 calls a week. Sources, my sourcing team, my purchasing team, my admin team, and myself, my business manager. What does that mean? You get the answers that you need to help you level up. And that's the most important point. Not only do you get a framework, you get support. 4 calls a week, that's quite a lot. I don't think anyone else does that. It's going to go through. Right. Okay, I've got 10 minutes, guys. I will kind of jump through. Recently, Amazon have closed my shipment with 54 units. Discrepancy open the case button was yet they said we have counted no such units are found. What to do? Obviously, check your shipping weights. Your shipping weight should obviously be able to add up to more than 54 units. That would be the one. Just make do the calculations. You can see what the weight of the product is. If it's 1 kilogram per product, and they said 20 were received, but the box is it's 100 kilograms, and all of a sudden you'd be like, well, you're saying 54 kilograms was received, 100 kilograms was actually received by UPS, and you can see that. Then go back to keep fighting it, keep fighting it. Let's have a look. What recommendation what is your recommendation online arbitrage on a new account? Check out fasttrackfba.com. We've got an express course. It will help you get started. We do lots of like new beginner stuff, like that will really help you out. So yeah, check that out. I think that'd be really, really helpful. Let's go and jump through. Facebook user, I got a top selling FBA product pushed into reserve because the listing was a little different. Totally lost mention with this product, and I stuck with it. Yeah, it does happen. It's because if the listing is different, then it's not the same product. Like Amazon are very clear on it. The product has to be exactly the same. That's it. Like if it's a different product, then you got to put on a new listing. I'm sorry, it's a pain. It does happen. Let's go through it. How can I engage Nike Lego on a fresh account USA? First things first, if it's a fresh account, make some sales. I know people who've had legit invoices from legit retailers. You can't. They've even with legit invoices, but no sales. They've not been ungated. Why? The ungating process is about Amazon saying we trust you. Or right now, these brands, i.e. Nike and Lego, are dangerous, are brands whereby there's a lot of fakes. So we want to make sure that our Amazon sellers are selling legit products, and we ask you to provide an invoice to prove that. Now, If you've never sold anything, Amazon's like, we have no record of you like doing any sales. We don't know if your customers are going to return the product or complain or whatever. So first things first, you'll probably never get ungated from the fresh account in Nike and Lego. You might be, some people might have done it, but generally I don't think you would. So what I recommend, get some sales first, at least like $1,000, £1,000, and then you need to get a wholesale manufacturer or a distributor invoice of the brands you want, Nike and Lego. So it must be it must have the name like Nike and the product and stuff, and then you can get ungated. Hope that makes sense. It's not easy, but it does take time. Remember, business is inherently hard, but appreciate the fact that it's hard, because if it was easy, like affiliate marketing, everyone would be doing it and there'd be no profits. Because it's hard, you can make profit. Facebook user Thomas, I really wish that your VAs were more honest with the cost of the academy. Ooh, wow, what happened? I signed up instant, but could never get an answer about the cost of having to book a call. I would have been nice to know to start if it was priced down. Okay, sure. Completely understand. The one thing which I will say is we do have the Seller Academy price. The one thing which I will say is we do change it depending on the person, and not for the person. It's like if you have bought products with us previously, then we'll discount those products off you. So the price is fixed and we'll discount it off, but it is based on what you've purchased recently. The reason is in the academy, we have things like you get 3 month leads, you get the USS, you get our sourcing mastery course, you get our admin mastery course, you get our purchasing mastery course, you get our business mastery course. And if you've bought some of these products already, we will take, should we say, a discount of the price off for that. And without knowing who you are and what's going on, we can't really do that. And we just want to make sure that you fully understand what's going on in the course and do it. So I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry the fact that you feel that it's priced out. The one thing that I'd probably say is if you are worried about the price of it, it's probably not going to be right for you. The same as like people, should we say, buying a VA. They're like, I'm not, I'm trying to save some money to buy VA. Like if you're not like, this is what I want, I need to take it to the next level. I've got the money, like this is going to happen, I'm going to buy this, then it's probably not going to be the right product for you because you're quite price sensitive. And for us, what we're looking at is people who are looking to invest and grow their business quite heavily. And a lot of that will take investment. Should we say, like, if I talked about Adam previously, he said he was doing 50K. I said we could take it to 100K. How do you do that? Well, he's going to have to buy a lot of stock. He's going to invest. So that's kind of like one of the reasons why we're saying, look, if you're really worried about the price side of it, it's probably not going to be the right product. But I appreciate your feedback, and certainly I'll look at it with the team and see how we can improve that. But also please understand that there is it's not a set price because we discount it based on what you previously purchased. So we can't just give a straight answer. Hope that makes sense. Let's go and jump through. So if anyone is interested in the Fast Track FBA Seller Academy, fasttrackfba.com/seller, that's down there. You can see a little bit about it, what you get. And I think the real point is, right now, I'm doing this live, like you guys get to ask questions, but you actually get to join a weekly call with me, as in like a Zoom call, not like this, a Zoom call. And it's just, I'll directly answer your questions and tell you where to focus this week. And we focus very heavily on this week, this is the action I would recommend to take for you. Like, it isn't mentoring, but it's pretty much close to it. Like, if I was in your shoes, this is what I would be doing to drive your business forward. And just by understanding your metrics and understanding that, using that framework, I can really understand where your business is and say bang, 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 bang. So I hope that makes sense. Adam says, thank you. Let's kind of jump through. So Jesse, I've watched your old videos that you're at some point, you're unsure if you want to continue your FBA journey. What is your advice on new sellers? At times it can be emotionally draining. My God, I think business is emotionally draining. I could probably tell you that for years, I was always considering about, should I go back and get a job? I'm not saying like I would have actually done it, but sometimes like when you go through Amazon suspend your account, or you can't get money, or like there's stress, or someone quits or something. Yeah, like I won't lie, I'm sitting there going like, should I just go get a job? This would just be a lot easier. But then that's like a moment of doubt, which I think we all have. And I think the case that you need to really be thinking about what's the long-term vision, and that's what I always come back to. It's like in that moment, yeah, right, I'm definitely not sure, but I do think the fact that we should always be looking at the long-term future. It's easy to go back to my God, wouldn't it be easy if we just all went back to school? At the time, school was really hard, but right now it's like the most easiest thing in the world. But I do think we should always be looking at where the future is. And if you've ever seen anything about me and my journey, I'm very growth mindset. I'm very about I want to drive that forward. So, new sellers at now, definitely you need to, if you want new advice to new sellers, it's your why. Really, it's the why. That's the most important point. Why did you get into this? What's it for? Better life, better quality, future, freedom, flexibility, more time with your family. I don't know, but I think it's all down to that why, and make sure you really understand that why. And because when times get tough, it's that why which is the thing that's going to drag you through. And if the why isn't strong enough, you won't do it. You'll quit. And it's just very common. And that's why a lot of businesses fail. Gaming Mama, Seller Academy. What is it? Fasttrackfba.com/Seller Academy. This is, or Seller, sorry. This is basically like our. The one thing I really noticed, we had a lot of customers or of us going, Tom, our business is doing really well. We want to take it to the next level. I want to work really closely with you. And like, for example, me, if you want to book an hour with me, it's £500 per hour. So it's not cheap, 600 US. I'm not saying whether you think I'm worth that or not. That's not the point, but that's what the price I value my time at. If you want to book an hour with me and I'll help you for an hour, that's how much I charge. And people were like they were paying for that, but they're like, we want more, we want to do it. And I said, look, and they were asking a lot of questions about like my business, how I do it. And I said, look, let me put it all together into a package. Let me document everything that we're doing. So like I do it on YouTube, but I do it in a lot more detail within the Seller Academy. And I also wanted to help them, but I wanted to help them where I just don't have enough time. So I was like, can I introduce them to my sourcing team? Can I introduce them to my admin team? Can I introduce my purchasing team? So that can Amazon sellers ask questions of my own team within my business about how have we solved problems? And what we did is we put that all together in the Seller Academy. We have 4 support calls: my sourcing, my admin, my purchasing, and me and my business manager, how we grow our businesses, the frameworks that we use, all the courses that we use to document, so sourcing, admin, business, and purchasing mastery. Also, then we thought, right, we really want to help sellers to really grow their business. What do we do? Well, we thought, well, let's give them the USS, because the USS is amazing. It's an amazing tool. So we give that as part of the package. And we thought, okay, what if they're taking time watching videos and they're not sourcing? How do we deal with that? Well, let's give them some leads. So we give them 3 months worth of leads, and they're my own deals, by the way. You get access to those as well. So we put it all together, a big package, and we basically just launched last month. It's great. It is closed right now, but if you're interested, fasttrackfba.com, look at Seller Academy, you'll see it. And the goal is we will take on more people when we relaunch, but it's really about taking people to the next level, like really just sharing everything we've learned. And by the way, I won't lie, it's not just what I've learned, it's what I've learned from other sellers. And if you see my journey, I meet lots of other people who are very, very successful. I learn a lot of cool stuff that I can't officially, share. So I do talk about that within that private group and that community. So fasttrackfba.com, look at Seller Academy. Let's kind of jump through. Eric, ungating, is it the packing slip invoice? No, it's not. You need a packing slip invoice is a packing slip note. It's not an invoice. You need an actual invoice which says your name, the company name, what you bought, itemized details of it, the price paid, the date, invoice number, and generally you're going to get that from the supplier, and it'll be a manufacturer, wholesaler, or distributor. That's what you use to ungate. Purchase 10 items from Shop Disney to get. Sometimes that can work. Yeah, and I think you just wrote down here, ungating slip invoice. So yeah, definitely like, but if it's a packing slip, no, you have to go back to Shop Disney and ask them for an invoice. So I hope that makes sense. Adam said, slight issue, Thomas, I'm private label. Ah, damn. I'm still going to look at the info anyway, find it all very interesting. Yeah, so we only do arbitrage. Adam, I really appreciate that. Like, interesting enough, the framework we use would work on private label, but I don't know if you'd get the same value out of it because we're all arbitrage focused. Yeah, like I don't like the framework would work, but the metrics would be different, and I don't know what metrics you'd want to track on the private label. So I don't know if I don't think it'd be useful for private. I'll be honest, like I don't think it would help with a private label seller. But arbitrage, definitely 100%. Like Seller Academy help that. But Adam, I appreciate it, and thanks for being honest and letting me know, and hopefully you feed that for me. Let's kind of jump through. Jesse V, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom. Jesse, thanks so much for answering or asking. That's good. And then final one. Does buying from one Amazon marketplace and selling on another Amazon violate terms and conditions? No, not as far as I'm aware. There's no direct terms and conditions, and if you should find it, one thing it is against terms and conditions is buying from Amazon using a Prime selling account for the purpose of reselling. That is directly against terms and conditions of the Prime agreement. So top tip for you, if you do want to do what you're doing, have an Amazon selling account, which is your selling account, and then create a whole new Amazon account, but do not set up for Prime. Just use it as a normal thing. You got to pay for the shipping. And what does this mean? Sometimes you're not going to be able to get the great deals because they're Prime only deals. So sorry, you can't buy them. But if you did buy them, and the reason why I say this is like 9 times out of 10, people do it. People do buy using their Amazon Prime shipping, which is fine, and they ship it across. It is against terms of service. That's very clearly stated. Terms of service of Prime says the purchasing using your Prime account for the purpose of reselling is against terms of service. Now, Amazon have a habit of not saying anything for a long time, and then all of a sudden saying we're now enforcing this rule, and we're not only enforcing it, we're going to go back and enforce it against anyone who's done it in the past. I've seen it time and time again, so I really recommend do not do it, because you are breaking terms of service. Even though other people might be doing it and they might be getting away with it, doesn't necessarily mean they'll have an account in a year's time, because Amazon can retrospectively shut the account down. They have done it before many times. A classic example is when people have too many shipping addresses and they're using the Prime purposes to drop ship through eBay sellers. And then what they've done is they've made the announcement to say we're not allowing it and we're blocking all these accounts. So like, but then people were doing this for a long time. Amazon to eBay drop shipping, they were doing it for a long time, even though it was against terms of service. Then all of a sudden, Amazon enforced the rule and deleted it. Hope that makes sense. That's fine. Right. I will say I have to leave it there. It is 11 o'clock. I do have to finish. I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining. And obviously, I will be back next week. Anything else you want to do, look at fasttrackkpa.com, but I'll catch you up on the YouTube channel same time next week. Stay safe, guys. Bye.